Felly, diolch yn fawr iawn I chi am ddod heno. Thank you very much for coming to tonight's meeting. And from these two pictures, you can clearly see what I know you're sacrificing to be with us tonight. There's the Burns supper in progress on the left. So some of you are missing out on your haggis for this brief meeting, while others are missing out on the loving feeling of Santes Dwymen. It's dydd Santes Dwymen hefyd. Felly, diolch yn fawr iawn am roi'r amser lan I troi lan I clywed. Thank you very much for giving up these perhaps temporarily for 20 minutes while we explain what we're hoping to achieve with our Tiwtora system. Okay. So, just to key destiny, just give a bit of context. I don't think we want a huge discussion reminding ourselves of what we've all been through for the last 18 months, 2 years. Although it is shocking sometimes looking back. First period of lockdown we had, which was obviously a shock to everybody. We had a school return then that had a check-in system where we made sure that everybody had devices or access to technology to cope with lockdown learning. And then the second lockdown. During that lockdown then, we instigated our first set of support measures. We had finance from Welsh Government to support pupils who are having difficulty with the lockdown learning. And the obvious priority for us through this session, after appointing our team of tutors, teachers specifically supported with literacy and numeracy, the immediate priority was to make sure that everybody could get online and access the live lessons. So that was a priority. We targeted pupils who had trouble getting online or difficulties coping with the system. And then we moved a huge amount of pupils from, I suppose, the list of pupils who were targeted who weren't coping onto the ones who were making satisfactory progress. So it worked very well, but it wasn't the initial idea of why we set up this tutoring. We set it up to try and boost or support literacy and numeracy and the pupils' skills in those fields. And then we come on to what's often called the new normal. Apologies for that. I'm not a big fan of that phrase either. I'll put it quickly on. While I'm apologising also, the screen has said that I'm Adam Gravel. Perhaps I should introduce myself. I'm not Adam Gravel. I think Adam and myself would be pleased to say that. My name's Lloyd Marnie, and I'm responsible for coordinating this support measure. And what is it? What on earth is going on? And first of all, to apologise to anybody who may have been a little bit concerned to receive a message from me Friday at the end of a long week, a long day, saying that we were going to give additional support and targeted support to your sons or daughters. And several people understandably got a little bit concerned, thinking that we were targeting pupils who were causing huge concern, and maybe people were thinking along the lines of someone missing out or struggling with lockdown and falling behind and catch up, and all these emotive terms that you see a lot in the press that's a dogging our young people who are doing exceptionally well. And that's really what I wanted to say to you, is that the pupils have developed an awful lot of excellent skills through this process. They've increased their IT skills no end, their organisational skills, their resilience. There's a lot of positives that have come out of these two lockdown periods. But it would be naive to say that everybody is exactly where we want them to be with their work. And what we have done, we've asked for staff to apply for the role of tutor. We've got an excellent team put together. And essentially, the first point there is what this is about. It's additional support during what we call lesson 6. And that's an hour's worth of tutoring time after school, usually on a Thursday, but I'll come on to that in a moment when exactly it will take place. But this extra lesson 6, where pupils are getting additional support and are getting a boost and a help. They're getting that with a specialist teacher in either numeracy or literacy. And we had nominations from core subject teachers for obvious reasons. They see the pupils more often than other teachers anyway, so know them better, even better, I should say. See the pupils more often and has an understanding of which pupils they thought, you know, I think they could do with a little bit of support, a little bit of extra nudge, a little bit of help in this direction, specifically with numeracy and or literacy. And as someone asked me on email Friday night, which is it? What if it's both? What do we do if there's issues? Rest assured, this is not firefighting. This is not panics. This is additional support we think will do even better. And we had 360 plus nominations. Now, there aren't, as you probably noticed on the list of participants, there are 360 people in this meeting. What we have done, we've asked the tutors to choose a group that they either know or are familiar with or have some connection with, and we decided then just to choose 8 for each teacher, and then that adds up to around about 65 pupils. I know the maths isn't exactly spot on there, pardon my numeracy skills there. However, it's give or take 7 or 8 pupils each. So we've got 65 pupils that have been offered this support now, between now and 8 weeks' time. So it's an 8-week progress system, 8 weeks we're looking at. And what we hope to do is to begin setting up regular communication between parents and subject teachers with these tutors. So the tutors will be speaking to yourselves, either communicating through codes being given in Sims. If you've got a Sims app, you might see codes appearing for extra effort or positive codes for things that are going well during these sessions, punctuality, turning up, that sort of thing. So you should be able to, through the Sims app, get an idea of how this is going, and also if there's any concerns. If there's specific concerns, the tutors are more than happy to pick up the phone and get in touch with you directly. If there's something specifically good happening or there's a concern that needs to be shared. There's also going to be a system where there's regular communication between the tutors and the subject teachers as well. So obviously there'd be no point, I know Ms. Spiller is one of the tutors, and thank you for coming along tonight, Ms. Spiller, who's a Welsh language specialist. And if she was tutoring somebody from another class, that would be ridiculous for her to say, right, well, I'm going to do punctuation, that's what's needed, and not speak to, say, Mr. Ashton, the class teacher, who's going to say, well, actually, my daughter Gladys here, she really needs to work on her reading skills and using quotations in her answers and exams. So that communication between the tutor and the subject teachers is vital. And once that's happened and everybody's aware of where we are and what we need to try and do, then we'll follow an agreed action plan. So a specific plan of what we hope to achieve in a specific time scale in this 8 weeks. We will start with a baseline task, which does sound a bit ominous, maybe a bit concerning if we've got any of our young learners on the call today. Might think, what have we got to do there? That might well be a question from a test paper or an exam. So a question, maybe a reading question, extended writing question. We're just doing a task to give us an idea, right, okay, where are we? What do we need to do to improve? And then at the end of that session, then at the end of the 8 weeks, another task will be set to measure progress, to see how we're getting on. Okay, so baseline task, then weekly sessions, absolutely vital that there's a strong commitment to those. People, like I said, there's 360 people on the list. We've chosen 65 to begin with. If there's anybody that is not benefiting, is not pulling their weight, is not committed to it, there's a long queue of people behind them who would gladly take up this opportunity of getting this tutoring. So we want commitments from everybody, obviously, and the regular communication is absolutely vital in that, to ensure that we know what's going on. Things may well crop up, there may be some clash, there may be something happening that people can't make a certain session, and that's understandable. There are other things happening in these young people's lives, but obviously if someone doesn't show full commitment, then we will have someone else eagerly stepping into their place there. Specific time scale, like I say, 7 to 8 weeks, and then the next steps, and I think people are asking this, okay, this is well and good, what happens at the end of it? Are they forgotten, or are they going to carry on doing it forevermore? And we have to come to a decision then, and we're going to have a meeting with the tutors at the end, towards the end of the 7 to 8 weeks. We've got the data together and making that decision of what do we do next. Do we then return the information and the responsibility solely with the class teacher, the subject teacher, say, right, these are the progress made. Some progress is needed in this area, but we feel they'll cope now well with doing that in class. They no longer need this additional support. We find that there may be a case, and I'm not expecting it from many, but it may well be the case that someone may need to continue for another set of 8 weeks, or we may indeed find that somebody has got concerns or issues or worries or difficulties that have come to light, and a different support is needed there. And I think possibly that may be a sort of support where somebody got in touch, you were concerned, that's what we're offering now. What this is now is not, we've seen a major problem, something needs to be done. we've got an opportunity. We've had finance from Welsh Government to offer this additional support, and we thought the most efficient way of doing that was ask the teachers who could benefit, give them the support in short, sharp sessions, 7 to 8 weeks. At the end of that, then seeing where we are. So hopefully you've got some sort of idea of how this fits together. And I know some of you have already had calls from the tutors discussing this. Some pupils have had meetings with the tutors discussing this. I'm also aware that not everybody has. So if you haven't, don't panic. It is on the way. But we did need to have this meeting just to to push the boat into the water, as idioms no longer translate well. So, what can you do as parents and carers? Beth sy'n angen I chi wneud? Well, discuss the support with your child. Just have that full discussion. What is it? What's happening? What do you feel you need to get from this? And encourage their commitment. Really, buy-in is the phrase I've used there. And if the young person can see the benefit of it, and they're hitting the same messages from ourselves and yourselves, to say, look, this is a great opportunity. And let's be completely frank, getting a tutor is not cheap. Having that investment is a significant financial burden. We've managed to get some funding from most governments, and we want to put it in place, offering that tutoring. So really, helping our young people who are offered this opportunity the chance to realise what a chance it is and make the most of it, and really grasp this opportunity more than anything else. And also to communicate with the tutor also. So if you could, and you can, I'll share the email address with you later, how you can communicate with the school, with the tutor, just to keep those lines going, specifically letting us know about, like I say, if there's a problem with attending something, or if someone's having some sort of difficulty. So that's it for you. There's 3 steps for you. You noticed I've made sure there's 7 or 8 steps for the tutors. I think we should keep them busy, that's for sure. But if you could manage that, I think that would help an awful lot. And the communication, I think, is vital. And next, we've got what we're expecting young people to do. Now, anybody who knows me would understand the huge frustration I've had with compiling this list. I love alliteration, and look what I've got. Yn y Cymraeg, ymrwymo, ymdrechu, cyfathrebu. And in English, commit, communicate, have a go. The time I spent online with Online Thesaurus is looking for something that started with a C that meant get involved, and I had no luck. So it would be nice if they all started with C, but it doesn't. But it is very simple and straightforward. Make the most of the opportunity and let us know how it's going. If there's an issue, let us know. That's what we expect, the commitment and the effort, because let's be clear, the young people here have got everything to gain from this. So it's targeted support, literacy or numeracy. We have had some pupils who have been nominated for both, and we're treating that as 2 separate nominations. We're not saying, well, you've had that chance now with literacy, you're not allowed the numeracy. We are going to look at it in the round and just see, well, if that's worked, they are separate offers of support. So we will look at that, obviously, when we look at the next round, then we're going to obviously try and get as many rounds in of this 8-week support across for the duration of the funding. So as long as we can fund this, we will be offering this support. Okay, so I'm well aware that I'm rattling through this, and I know there may well be questions. And what I am going to do is offer an opportunity for you to pop your questions in the chat box. If there's anything you want to put in the chat, any concerns, any questions, anything you want to know, you can do that. Or you can, as people have been doing often already, email the tiwtora@ygcymru.net email account, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can, or maybe pass the message on to the individual tutor. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you feel about this, if there's anything that isn't clear that could be clearer, or any specific requests or questions. So by all means, pop them in there now. I'll keep the recording going while you're doing that. If there's something obvious I can answer straight away, I will. But what I want to come back to is that haggis might be boiling dry on your stove, so I don't want to keep anybody too long. Obviously, it's Burns night. Santes Dwynwen heddiw hefyd. Felly, diolch yn fawr iawn am eich gwrandawiad, diolch am ddod. Neu ni cofnod o sylwadau a cysylltu nôl â chi gyda ateb i bob un. We will be back in touch for any questions at all. So I've seen this in the chat now. Okay, so we've got a few things there that we can look at, and I will be. So I did say it's generally on a Thursday, but it's at the discretion of the tutor. If they find that all the group are better suited for another day and it suits that tutor, then I'm going to leave that up to them. I really don't want to restrict anybody's success in this by saying it must be on a certain day. There will be additional work to be completed at home. Yes. And that's where the communication is important. I don't want anybody feeling that someone's under undue stress or struggling with that workload. Yeah, I'm pleased that, I know it's not your name, but I'm pleased that Galaxy 12 thinks it's a good idea. And it starts as soon as the tutors are up and running, they're ready to go. So there may be even some sessions may already have started. This is, frankly, it's not in school time, it's in lesson 6 after school. Just to be clear then, that can be in face-to-face, more likely it'd be virtual, and it'll be taken over over Google Meets once groups have time to get home, because I think that will involve more people getting involved. That's the idea there. So yes, it will be over Google Meets. Well, we can discuss things like extracurricular workload as well, things like that. But you see, there's a lot of common concerns. What I will do is work through these and then put question and answer forms out, because I'm delighted there's so many messages. There's a lot to get through. So what I will do, by stopping the recording, I'll have a printed copy of this. I'm with the team, Neil and Miss Spiller, myself and other tutors. We'll work our way through it and get back to you as soon as we possibly can. But if there's anything pressing that's a major concern, by all means, email tiwtora@ygcymru.net. Okay, so thank you ever so much. And apologies if it wasn't perhaps an open discussion forum, as would have been quite nice to have, but I think it's better that we get things done. So what I will do now, I will sign off there, but I won't finish the meeting until everybody's happy that they've got their comments in. All right. So let's see, there's 16 to get through there. So I'll stop talking now. You'd be delighted to hear that, I'm sure. I'll stop there, but I will leave the comments gathering for another 5 minutes. Okay. And I will also put Miss Spiller on the spot and ask if there's anything that she'd like to say. Oh, it's not like it's in. Spiller's renowned for using that excuse in meetings. Renowned. Obviously, I'm only teasing there. Thank you very much, Ms. Spiller. That's quite right. We've got the comments we'll work through. I'll stop there and wish you a good evening. Dydd Santes Dwynwen, hapus I bawb, ac hefyd happy Burns night to you all.